see.
All right. Okay, what's up, everybody? This is the GoatCast podcast with some breaking news. I'm sure if you are an NBA fan, you just heard Kevin Durant has been traded to the Houston Rockets for Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, the 10th draft pick this year in 2025, and I believe what is it, 5 second rounders.
Mm-hmm.
So KD will be a Houston Rocket next year or this coming season, and the Houston Rockets have gotten rid of some decent pieces, and now Phoenix has Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks. So we got Big Nige here. What do we think about this trade, Big Nige? Is this a game changer for each side, and who do you think won this trade?
Well, I'll say the two I think won. I think Houston won this trade for the immediate future, but I think Phoenix is playing the long game, and I think they're obviously in a soft rebuild. I don't think they're going full rebuild, but I think this puts them in position to do something else. Cap space. Getting under the second apron because they're still a second apron team with this trade. Um, and with Bradley Beal and his no trade clause, we all knew that Kevin Durant was kind of the only one that was liable to go. So in this trade, Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks, I think together are about, I want to say it was like 55.4 million. And with being a second apron team in the Phoenix Suns, you're dishing Kevin Durant out with approximately 54.7. So to my opinion, I think there's going to be a third team that gets involved in this to make the salaries mesh up, which, and by extension, I definitely think that means somebody like Jalen Green might be on the move, and you might be getting more complementary pieces around Devin Booker. I mean, you could move Dylan Brooks as well, but I think Dylan Brooks fits what this team is trying to identify in the Phoenix Suns. Being a more gritty culture. They're soft like marshmallows is what they were described this past season. So I think getting a Rough Rider, another two-way guy like Dylan Brooks can help. You got the number 10 pick, which they've been talking about. They won the center for like forever. And maybe you can get the center from Duke, can't pronounce his name, like Moloch or something. Big 7'2" guy. I think he's projected to go around like the 9 to like 15 range. So maybe you could pick him up and get your center
See the
there.
African guy?
Yeah, I think he's like 7'1",
Is he
7'2" from
still in
Duke.
the draft? I thought one of them, somebody from Duke, decided not to enter the draft. Um,
Well, even if he isn't there, then you could probably use that number 10 pick to go get somebody else.
they need it.
Um,
Yeah.
but for I'll say for Houston, obviously this gives them a punch. This gives them a more consistent offensive option, especially considering they were the number 2 seed this past season. And now, if you were to put KD during this postseason against the Warriors, I think a lot of people would have picked Houston to beat them because the teams weren't that far off from each other. Houston just could not score the basketball, in tight situations. So you bring in a guy who can, score 27, 26, 30 in his sleep, and could score in the half court, which is one of Jalen Green's biggest problems was he wasn't very good in the half court and he got exposed, albeit it was his first postseason setting. He didn't have a very good showing, which is, again, why when I was formulating a prolonged Kevin Durant trade, Houston was one of his options,
Mm-hmm.
but Jalen Green, his stocks were so low, I didn't think you could trade him. I thought maybe you could move him during the deadline this upcoming season because he could maybe, get some of those stocks back. But for him to get traded to Phoenix, I just think he's on the move somewhere else. I think another team is probably going to get involved to make the money work. So thereby extension, like I said, I think Houston won this because this gives them an immediate fix, an immediate offensive punch for their, um, backcourt, front court, wherever they want to put them. And then for Phoenix, I think this is the long haul. I think Dylan Brooks fits, so I think he stays. I think they used the number 10 pick to get some kind of athletic big man. And then, they're getting some of their draft capital back that they offloaded when they received Kevin Durant in those 5 second-round picks. So good for the franchise long term, but I think a third team is going to get involved.
Okay. Well, this ends the potential of a KD in San Antonio with my crew. Um, Not too sad because I didn't think that would be the wisest fit for my Spurs, but this is interesting. Like you said, I think Houston wins short term, kind of like the Luca and AD trade, where it felt like AD was going to be something for them quickly or in the now. Of course, injuries killed that, but Luca was going to be the long term investment for the Lakers. And here you see that they got the 10th draft pick for this year's draft and 5 second rounders to turn into something good. You never know. Um, I'm trying to figure out why you think Jalen Green. Do you think he's redundant for that Phoenix Suns team? Like, is he just is it not? You don't want him there with Bradley Beal because they'll kind of redundant a little bit, or do you just think that there's something that the Phoenix Suns can get that will fill a better role than Jalen Green right now, and they can offset him to another team to do that?
Well, I think when you have Bradley Bill, Devin Booker, and now Jalen Green, again, I think there's a lot of redundancy in their positions. Obviously, I think Jalen Green can get to the basket, but what we saw in the postseason, he's not a very good finisher. Very athletic, but not the best at getting downhill, getting making those layups, and finishing in contact and stuff like that. So it made him more of an outside shooter, which again he's shown in the postseason he's not the best at. Not saying he can't shoot, but not under high pressure situations. He was basically unplayable, and he only plays one side of the floor right now. So again, you're adding another defensive liability to a team that was struggling to have a defensive identity in any capacity last season. So that's why I don't think he fits. I mean, he's younger, yes. He's got tremendous upside, but I just don't think he fits. Like, I think they want to have the ball in Booker's hands. If you want to salvage this with Bradley Bill, those two kind of got to be your like 1A, 1B, and you have to build around those two, or just build around Booker because you can't trade Bradley Bill. So like I think they need more like versatile wings, which is kind of why I thought this trade was going to go for the Spurs because they had a variety of wings that they could
Yeah,
trade for Kevin Durant to give them some more size and more versatility on their offensive approach and how they could match up against other teams in this loaded Western Conference. But having three combo guards, that's just not the recipe.
I agree. Especially with that Spurs sentiment. I think once KD threw it out that he had specific teams he wanted to go to, it kind of hurt some of that because Spurs they're not going to give up Stephen Castle or I mean I think they'd get rid of Vassell and Keldon Johnson those type players, but they're not getting rid of Castle, and I think that was part of their asking or the bargaining for Phoenix to trade KD over there. So I think that that played against Phoenix, and I think Houston did the best they can do for this. And I think, like you said, if they had KD this postseason in the playoffs, I think it would have probably changed a lot of our thoughts on, Houston because one of our biggest talking points was they're not a great scoring team. And with the KD, even though he's older KD, he can still pull out some 30, 40 point games. And he's versatile enough and he plays well with anybody just about. He's a guy that can plug into any system and he's going to work. So I think that works for them. Does this move the needle? Do you think? Well, we'll see tonight who wins the championship. But say OKC wins, do they now become not the favorite next season? Do we knock down any of the other top tier teams in the West because of KD's move, or does it seem kind of par for the course? There probably won't be a huge movement during that time or next year.
Well, one of the other things I was going to get into was the fact that Houston pulled this trade off without giving up Jabari Smith Jr., Cam Whitmore, Sengun. Like you are still a massively huge team, and you're adding another 7 foot, 3 level scorer in Kevin Durant. So you got KD, Sengun, Jabari Smith Jr. They just re-signed Steven Adams. Like this is going to be a big team. You still got
Mhm.
one of the Thompson twins. I think it's Amin Thompson
Yeah.
to lock down on the perimeter. We'll see what they do with Steady Freddie and his high highs and low lows. But nonetheless, this Houston team looks very poised to make a deep postseason run next season. Will I say championship? I don't know, but they have the defense clearly, as we've seen, and they just
Mhm.
added a huge offensive piece. And they have Ime Udoka, who I am very
Yep.
confident in that can put Kevin Durant into this system and fit seamlessly. Um, so they have a legitimate shot, I think, to challenge OKC in the West, considering obviously the West is very tough, but whatever they got out east, it looks like pennies on the dollars over there. So I mean, no disrespect to the Pacers because I picked them, but regardless, yes. But yeah, like how do you make this trade and not get Jabari Smith Jr., another ginormous versatile wing who can play, not going to say like Kevin Durant, but gives you size, can play defense and hit the long ball and do some things for you. How do you not get Jabari Smith to replace your future with Kevin Durant or Cam Whitmer, who's a scoring machine himself at his 6'6", 6'7",
You can shoot the three.
frame.
Yeah, you can shoot the three.
I'm just like Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks again. That's not enough for me. You can talk about the
Mhm.
picks and the number 10 pick and but Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks. That's what you're going to sell the fans in Phoenix on after you've put them through all this purgatory the last few seasons, going from the championship run they had, and obviously they lost to Milwaukee, but then you just dismantle the team and like to me this that's why I think there's more to this. There has to be. You just let Kevin Durant walk for inconsistent score and a two-way player who's solid in Dylan Brooks, but he ain't gonna give you but so much. He's there to
Yeah.
pick you up 94 feet, hit occasional 3-point shots, and get under the other opposing team's best player's feathers. That's it. But you only got those two guys and some draft capital. For Kevin Durant, I just there has to be. Otherwise, Phoenix has lost their minds more so than they already have.
Yeah, so that lends to your thoughts about a third team coming in and you know completing the whole trade because, like you said, Green and Dylan Brooks isn't quite enough for Kevin Durant, even in 2025. That's a low sell. So yeah, I feel like Phoenix isn't done. I don't like you said. I don't think they're going to fully try to try to rebuild because I think that they have Devin Booker. They don't want to ruin that kind of trust, that kind of relationship with Booker. I'm sure he doesn't want to sit on the bench all the time so they can lose games, so they can get a good lottery pick in the near future. So they have to come up with something, and I don't think Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks are the answers to that. But I mean, it's a start. I think it's a start, and I'm sure they'll make some more moves throughout this summer. But it's cool that we're getting some movement already before the draft even starts, and the finals haven't even finished, so we're already getting some big news and big trades early. So who knows what's going to happen on draft night because that's when you usually see some crazy movement going on. So I guess we need to buckle up and get ready for this draft season. We got to get ready for the night. Any predictions for the night before we get out of here?
Pacers in 7, baby. Let's get it.
Pacers and
Let's get it.
seven. I mean, I thought I had it locked down OKC in 6, but they decided to take a night off. I must say they did what Boston did last year. Let them get one more. Let them get a win so they can win it all at home. Now this is going to be a high pressure game, and this is
Mm-hmm.
where we're going to see what Shea is really made of because really Pacers have nothing to lose. They're not supposed to be there. They're not supposed to be in Game 7. They pretty much everybody buried them and put the dirt over them. So the fact that they're here means they got nothing to lose. So we've seen they can take care of business against OKC. They play better on the road actually. So yeah, this is gonna be think it's going to be a good Game 7. I hate that, unfortunately, the viewership is way, way, way down, but you kind of saw that the writing on the wall with that when two small market teams got to the finals, especially without, a KD style level or uh, LeBron level player on one of those teams. So we shall see tonight. We will crown a new NBA champion tonight. This would be the Pacers' first, I believe, in franchise history. I think.
Definitely in recent history, that's for sure.
I mean, if it's not, it's been before I was even here. And for OKC, of course, they were the Sonics. They won, back when Dennis Johnson was playing, they won a championship. So this will be the first under the Oklahoma City banner. So this is going to be interesting. So appreciate you guys. This was a breaking news kind of segment we wanted to do. We didn't want to have to wait till Wednesday or Tuesday to get this out there. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. And check out this week. Everybody will be back, I hope. And we're going to drop the GOAT debate, one of them, the first one. So be ready for that. And I think you'll have some fun with it. We're going to have some fun with this. We're going to try to drop those weekly coming up. So please help us to continue to grow. Please like and subscribe so we can get out there on the YouTube algorithm. Sometimes it's really hard, but you guys can help us get there and just continue to help support us. So any parting words, Big Notch?
Nope. I appreciate everybody for pulling up and checking this video out. Let me know your thoughts below on this trade. Who you think won, Houston or Phoenix? And do you got Houston with Kevin Durant winning it all this year? But Pacers in 7, everybody. Until next time.
OKC in 6.
That one was spicy.
So the Warriors have to play 48 minutes.
I think it's going 7. I have the Nuggets in 7.
Ant-Man, Batman, Watchmen, Lakers at 5.
Well, it's money time now.